It's pretty unique. It's weird.
Is that a mistake?
It should be in Russia.
Destroy this monstrosity. Monstrosity.
Masterpiece or monstrosity? Today we turn our curiosity to one of Boston's most iconic and controversial structures, City Hall. Look at this building for me. What are some words that spring to mind as you look at that?
Ugly.
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 Ugliest building in the world.
Why?
I mean, it looks a little dark, a little bit of gothic. I mean, imagine if it was gargoyles on top.
It's hideous.
Grotesque.
Grotesque.
Yeah.
Boxy.
Yeah.
It's harsh, it's pretty austere. It looks like a parking garage.
It looks like a jail, but like, why is it on stilts?
It just looks like it should be the skeleton of a building, not, the outside.
Feeling a lot of positive connotation here.
No.
It's just so brutalist.
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 Well, it's called brutalist architecture, and I think that kind of sums it up if I had to describe it.
It's funny that so many people know the word, but don't necessarily know what it means.
I mean, I think it's such a descriptive term that you feel like you can understand it even if you don't really know the background of it, right? Because it does feel brutal, right? It feels very harsh, it's very cold.
Generally, most people attribute it to the French-Swiss architect Le Corbusier. He built a series of buildings out of concrete, and part of it was that there was no steel to build out of post-war, and part of it was that there was not a whole lot of skilled craftspeople. So he left the concrete raw, in a raw state, and it was called béton brut, raw concrete in the French interpretation. It's a word that's very pejorative and negative sounding, but it wasn't meant that way to begin with. In the 50s, Victorian architecture was seen as outdated and overscaled and all the same kind of critiques that brutalism got. And now we regard it as a precious thing. Now we regard most Victorian architecture as worthy of preservation.
I personally am not a big fan of brutalist architecture, but there are people who really do love it.
I think it's a good example of brutalism.
I have grown to love the structure. I think it fits in here.
There's a British critic who wrote, "We don't expect to be friends with rock faces, but we still find them beautiful." And they are meant to be a different kind of beauty. I would never expect somebody to say that building is polite, for instance. I would expect them to say it's bold, it's strong.
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 Large.
Tall.
Grand.
Immense.
Impressive.
The building feels, overwhelming. Concrete is a very heavy material, and the way it overhangs, it's overwhelming and overbearing, and in some cases also a little oppressive. And I think the building is also very opaque and it feels inaccessible. And I think to a lot of people, that's how the government can also feel.
It's giving like Chernobyl, Soviet Union.
Soviet.
Yeah. Okay.
There's nothing nice or warm about it. It's communist. It gives a bad feeling.
Okay, so this is where I think people couldn't be more wrong. City Hall was designed during JFK's presidency, when we have the New Frontiers program, which is a program where government's meant to help people. I think what's happened is today, that positive sense of government has been, in some respects destroyed. And so people have a very different impression of what these buildings were, as though they're communist or negative associations with a totalitarian state.
I think we have a very limited view of Russian culture, but it's interesting that we associate all of those things, right? Harsh architecture, communism, Russia, right? Those are all kind of lumped together.
If you could talk to the architect, the designer behind this building, what are some questions you might ask them?
Why?
What was they thinking?
What were you thinking?
What were you thinking?
I have asked the architects many times. It was controversial from the start, but they were interested in this idea that the civic realm could be inviting. They thought that the plaza should carry directly into the building, accessible from many different directions, and it was.
What would you change if you could?
Add some color.
And maybe, throw some color.
What if you painted it pink?
No. No.
I think the architects would say, definitely don't paint that concrete. That would be against the principles of brutalism, right? That you don't want to paint a surface where you want to see the material as found. You want to see the actual material itself.
Make bigger windows. Take out some of the windows.
Really, what's most important in architecture is how it makes the user feel. And as a government building, it should be more transparent. It should be more open. You should feel like you can enter the space and participate in the government.
It's concrete. That's what I don't like about it. I think the concrete.
I would make it brick instead of concrete.
Well, I'm not an architect, but add some brick.
Use some brick so it fits the Boston scene better.
So essentially be a different building.
Yeah, entirely different building.
Cool.
Well, I think we have enough brick.
It just doesn't really do anything for downtown.
Doesn't really fit with Boston very well.
This is Boston. This is the
It's the hub of the universe.
I think that this idea that it should look more like old Boston is exactly not what it should do. It's meant to show a 1960s new Boston. People have really detested it, hated it, but now it's gotten a resurgence of interest. My hope is that more people, even if they think aesthetically it's not what they want it to be, that they can understand it better.
Aesthetics is a taste and preference. My appreciation of the building has changed over years.
Well, there you have it, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want more Curiosity content, check out this recent video. Our thanks to Emerson College for always keeping us curious. I'm Edgar B. Horwitz III. Stay curious out there.